Okay, this is part 2 of the Federalist Paper number 1. All we did in the last video looked at the first paragraph that is extremely important, extremely beautiful, extremely important. Remember, he says, after an unequivocal experience of the inefficacy of the subsisting federal government. He says it has become clear now, there's no doubt in our minds, after looking at what has happened in the last 11 years, ever since we declared our independence. Because this is 1787, the colonies declared their independence in 1776. So he's talking about the last 11 years, and he says it is obvious now, with the experiences we've had, with everything that's happened, with what's wrong with the governments of these states, inefficacy of the subsisting federal government. The federal government that we have now, subsisting, I mean, the one that exists right now, is inefficacy, means it's not efficient. It doesn't work. It does not work at all. You can just throw it away. So we needed to look at and see how we can remedy this, how we can solve our problems. Why does he want to solve the problem? Because he sees the British Empire is still there, even though they decided to let the Americans go, but they're still up in what is now Canada. You've got the Spanish Empire to the south. You've got French Empire all around this area. And they are not going to let go because they are monarchies. For the most part, they're either absolute monarchies or they believe in a monarchical system. They do not want to see a successful Republican government because they think if that happens, their people will get the wrong ideas. Their people will learn and say, why should we have kings? So they will do everything in their power to see the American experiment with republicanism ends. So he says, we looked at the last 11 years and see what's happened. Every time under our first Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, every time we asked the states for some money, they would call it requisition. Comes from the word require. When you need something, you make a requisition. You say, I need money. I need you to send me some soldiers from your state. Every time they made a requisition, those states were either late or never answered the call. So it says you cannot have a government like this. You will be played with by those empires that want our downfall. So this is not going to work. We have it's an unequivocal experience of the inefficacy of the subsisting federal government. The federal government or the confederacy we've had so far, it hasn't worked because every time we ask you for money, every time we ask you to send us soldiers, every time we need this, we need that, you just do not respond in time. You do not answer our call. You play around. You just don't help us. So he says, it's not going to work. And it says you are called upon to deliberate. Like juries deliberate. You talk about things very thoughtfully, patiently, because it's important. So when you deliberate, you think about it. You're trying to be thoughtful. He says, we want you to deliberate on a new constitution